driven 760 miles. It has run the quickest pass in the history of Drag Week for a car that has completed the week. There's only one reason why they're making this pass, and it starts with a 5. And he gets out solid with a 105 short cut. He goes for the 8 mile, 194 miles an hour, 599 with an 8, 250. That is the first 5-second time in the history of Hot Rod Drag Week.
Sick week update. We're trying to get this stuff out of here, hopefully leaving, what is it today, Wednesday? I think it's Wednesday. And so we're trying to get out of here either Friday night, Saturday morning. It was Friday morning, now it keeps backing up because of work and other stuff. But so Aiden's car, he got his Dakota Digital today, gauges today, so those are in the car. He's working on wiring that up. That's to fill the gauge cluster. It's got the big Holly dash, so that part he was all covered with before, but it's kind of to make the car more complete. So Dakota Digital rushed through getting that stuff made for him with the GPS, so he gets the speed, all that stuff will happen in there. So tie down hooks for the trailer, like, I mean, some of this is minor stuff that we just say, oh, well, this car doesn't have tie down hooks, like different things like that, which is the same with my trailer, that we're adding stuff to it. So I guess I'll show you on that. Number one, the wrap on the trailer, so it looks pretty sweet. The other is actually adding the hooks to tie the wheelie bars to the top of the trailer. Made sure cubic footage that we're fine with those being outside of the trailer like that. Ran them like that before, just with the tie strap, kind of makeshift. But the other is kind of we had these tie downs to the trailer. Bob's putting a Reese hitch on the Shitbox, not because it'll pull a trailer, but because it needs to pull this trailer when we load it into our trailer to get it to Florida. So Shitbox won't be able to fit up top, so 2.0 goes up top, and then we hook this trailer to the Shitbox and then pull that in to then haul it. So, but doing, like I said, little final little detail stuff that need to be done. 2.0, the other thing is back windows actually over Matt's, getting decals on there for sponsor decals, so last minute thing there. And then Powermaster's huge. Had the starter that was on the car was hanging up once in a while. My spare starter basically had been cannibalized to fix starters throughout the years, so my spare wasn't a spare any longer. Didn't have enough parts left to fix another one. And then with that one acting up, I went to my Powermaster starters, and they were great to get me 2 starters here ASAP that I have one of them in there, one of them as a spare. Same with my alternators. I didn't realize that my other alternator that I used, my spare alternator after the fire, the one that went through the fire, I hadn't sent back. So Powermaster good enough to overnight me another, so I have a spare alternator. And same thing as the fuel pump situation. So situation we are in is, all we were going to do is fill the trans, and then we started talking about stuff, and then I said, well, where's the coupling for the fuel pump? And because the coupling for the race pump gets removed when we street drive it. So we couldn't find the coupling, so we pulled the fuel pump off. The coupling was left in the race pump, well, so it had to deadhead the pump because there's a valve that we closed to make sure the race gas doesn't run through the engine when we're running on the street pump. So the weak link turned out to be the coupling and the shaft, because they're both round down. So we're hoping that maybe the pump wasn't damaged. We do have the old pump that was on it that we swapped to the new pump. This one had to go in to get rebuilt. We're just going to take for a spare on sick week. But so now we put this one on, we're without a spare. So whatever. And we're just trying to sort it out. It's one of those things that wasn't a thing. And when it was at Steve's shop and they switched to street mode before I loaded it up, obviously whoever did it didn't, Steve must not have been there, or Steve must not have done it, but either way, it got switched over to street mode with that coupling still in there, and that's a vital part. You uncouple the race pump from it to make it work. See, there's a lot of shit in there.
There's some stuff.
We spun that off. We found that we had another spare. The other one we sent the air motive, so they should be getting back to us, but then we got another spare that we found in the trailer. Used one, but should be good. And it's just trying to get all those spare parts together. And then tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow, my goal is that pull the valve covers off, go through everything, and make sure that I have all my tools for the front of the car together. I have all my tools for the back of the car together. All the stuff that we do to convert it from the street to the track. So the idea to figure out is, because you got 2 cars worth of valve lash kit in there, is pulling the valve covers and stuff off this car, which we do twice a day minimum. So they have all the stuff ready. So I kind of want to downsize what we try and shove in that box and just make sure that I have all the stuff set for that. So normally I would just throw it all on Steve, but Steve isn't my passenger this year. He's got his own car coming, so we got to deal with it all on our own. And then the wing windows that Bob worked on, we run these. If you've seen them in 1.0, it's for getting airflow through the car when it's hot out. So Bob made similar brackets, so we're waiting for a couple clips, but obviously the idea, wind comes off the windshield or whatever, pushes through there, pushes in the car, because I mean, these cars are built to be pretty aerodynamic. So with that, not much air gets inside the car because it's not supposed to. So therefore, we do some things to then, well, we are doing some things now to try and get airflow into the car so that if it is hot, then we at least will be a little more comfortable.
Everything is creating a tremendous amount of heat inside the car, and this is the only airflow you get. For the most part, it's kind of a sealed thing, so any kind of air that we can get in the car will just make it a little nicer. And this is something they have on 1.0, so we're just trying to duplicate it onto this car. Actually, here's the ones. These are off of 1.0.
The others with the shroud for the radiator. Bob topped that off with this here for just basically helping to force the air through the radiator, maybe so we don't have to run the fans as much. Like running down the road, this car always runs good, runs cool. Well, Delta Pag got the new radiator, came in, that got fitted up, and then this is just an added touch that goes along with all of this. Ductwork to basically just force air through the radiator. So number one, if we're at a dead stop, it would have the tendency to just recirculate the hot air around and around and around. But if you're moving a couple miles an hour, air moved through, the fans pulled it through. But after I saw Schroeder did this stuff with his new car, and he said going down the road, a lot of times he never even had to run the fans. And so we're hoping we get that same deal by building this ductwork around it, that we can force that stuff through. Another thing we got done on here, we do have the radio finally installed and in place, headphones and the little hooks there. So hopefully that'll make everything a lot more pleasant driving down the road. You can actually communicate, listen to the radio, and talk to your passenger. So that's a goal with it, as well as hopefully some hearing protection, because it seems like my ears just keep getting worse and worse. So trying to slow that progress with that. So that's the radio and the reason for it.
So you used to have the switch on the outside of the car. Wanted to do one inside, so when you get in, you forget, you don't need to get back out and turn the power on. So what did low cars switch mount? Cable wasn't long enough, so hit up ProWorks and they gave us the silver jacketed push-pull rod cable lever thing.
And even with the loop in there,
And
still
even
works.
with the
Still
tight
looks
little
like a
loop, because
champ.
we got a little bit longer than we needed, still works good.
So long story short, that's the same as like my cars, where you can get in the car and you see a lot of people sometimes get in their race car, and the next thing you know, they're like, oh shit, the power's not on. Can you go turn the power on, or they got to get out? So my cars have the handle next to it. He wanted the handle next to his so you could turn it on from in the car. So now we can do that. And that'll throw that, because that switch seems tight. It'll throw that switch as you do it from inside. So there you go. So ProWorks hooked up with their cable and works like a charm. So it's Thursday night. Go through the tools on here. I already found a bunch of stuff that somewhere along the line we have it somewhere else, whatever. And that was my whole reason to go through, is to try and make sure I have the tools for doing the valve lash, pulling the stuff, adjusting the front end, basically doing the stuff that have to do every morning, convert it to street mode, and go through that. We're real close with stuff. We got the hitch on, well, Bob got the hitch on 8-inch car, so that's done. Shutoff's done. Aiden got the coded digital in there. Bob's getting the grill cover done for 2.0 for when we race it, and I got those tools to go through. Pull the wheels off tomorrow, make sure I got the stuff for adjusting the shocks, put in the air shock, the stuff, like, once again, just the stuff, the normal conversion stuff, to be as prepared as possible with that. And this is kind of stuff that usually on the first day, like, I just throw a whole bunch of crap in the trailer and then I just hope that I have what I need. I'm trying to take a little bit of time to be a little bit better prepared for it. So, but that's where we're at. The stuff goes in the trailer. If not tomorrow, then first thing Saturday morning. We're going to load the trailer tomorrow. We got a bunch of other stuff for sick week over there. The windshield banners, the signs for the track, just all a bunch of all last minute stuff. So trying to get all that stuff together so that we can head out, and we should be down in Bradenton hopefully Sunday night. So that's the plan. Another day of work.
He looks like this weird Hot Wheels car coming down the road.
How's it?
It's super tiny.
Forgot to adjust that mirror, and then
Oh.
I'm like, not a big deal when I'm backing out. Well, then I'm trying to get in the other lane so I can pull in the gas station and turn around. And first I'm like, well, I'll just stay in the left lane. I'm like, shit, I don't know how far I'll have to go, but
How far did you go? Where's that gas station?
I don't know, 15 miles. I don't know, half a mile down the road, maybe a mile. On the right-hand side, there's
the
that
big
BP.
The big BP.
So that's where I pulled through, and I went under the overhang, and the overhang was gripping. And I'm like, oh. So.
How to ride with the sweet motors.
And actually, the car's loud enough that I don't think I can hear the whine of those.
Yeah.
But in the steering wheel, I mean, I did.
I see
On the
it's
way
not too
down there, I
far.
moved it over, But then on the way back, I don't know, because obviously you can't deal with the cup of the lane or whatever, but it's like, it was almost straight. I'm like, I don't know that I would mess with it.
Okay.
I mean, it's so close,
Pretty close
that I don't
then.
know that I would, don't know
good.
that I would do anything. So
Good.
that's kind of where we're at with everything, with trying to get this stuff together, to get it in the trailer, to then take off for Florida here in a couple days. It's an ever shrinking list, but it seems like stuff keeps getting added to the bottom of the list. So that's the update, and that's where we're at.